to go. What's up, everybody? We are hanging out, we are hobbying, and it is me, Richard Ziegler, the Unstoppable Destroyer, and John Lennon is joining us, the All-Seeing Annihilator. Another hangout in hobby. This is going to be a fun one, because guess what, John? There was so much that came out this weekend. Wow.
Like, normally we talk about an event or like a book, and instead we had like a nice event to talk about, and also 2 new books, which is just so much. Gotta give a shout.
Too much, almost.
Almost too much, but is there ever such thing as too much 40k?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think you can have too much. We are back in action. We've got to start off, though, with a shout out to the missing member of our crew. Mech is not here, mostly because he was busy winning the GT this weekend.
He was winning with Sisters of Battle.
A YOLO Sisters army that he didn't even get a practice game with in advance. Only Nick could pull off a YOLO army so stylishly.
YOLO Sisters is always fun.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he ended up taking it down. A lot of good players there, too. Sean Maiden showed up.
Yeah, Austin Wingfield, Juice, Mark Hurdle. Plenty of good players there. So,
TJ Lanigan, of course.
TJ Lanigan was there, too? Yeah.
How's it going, everybody? People did like the animation. That is the very good work of the Fat Dingo. He was able to find an animator who was working on some cool 40k stuff, and he helped us get that set up, as well as this new Hangout and Hobby stream setup. We got a new overlay for this, so the Fat Dingo has been hard at work for us, and we really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Anybody else ridiculously hyped for the AdMech Codex? Current book is over 3 years old. I am, in fact, ridiculously hyped for the new AdMech. Their rules that they got in the Book of Rust were actually quite strong. I think Metallica has a lot of interesting things, but I'm really excited to see where the other Forge Worlds go, because Metallica was not on the top of the list of Forge World sub-factions that I thought would get rules. So if they're going to do similar things for Mars in the future, or maybe Styges, that would be really, really awesome.
Yeah, or maybe they'll give Metallica some more interesting rules in the Codex that will make this supplement even better.
I would hope so, because their trade is not the best.
Yeah.
Neither is their relic.
Nope. Good Warlord trade, at least.
Good
you have to have something, right?
Any of you guys going to the Dallas GT? In fact, Mr. John Lennon and Nick Notavati are probably going to be there.
That is true. I am planning to go to the Dallas Open. It's at the very end of April, early May. So I'm hoping to be there. Should be a very fun time. I've been to the Dallas Open in the past. It's been a very well-run event, so I've enjoyed it the last 2 times I've been. So I would certainly love to go again.
And it's 9 rounds, right?
Yeah, it was 6 the last 2 times, I think, and they have gone straight up to 9. Very, very interesting right there. That is a lot of 40. I haven't played a 9-rounder since LVL, so it would be good to try to get 9 rounds in again.
That's where those the big ITC points are.
Yeah, no kidding. So that'll definitely be a fun event, and I'm really looking forward to it.
His user interface is so nice. Love it. Well, glad to hear it. This is, once again, the work of Mr. the Fat Dingo, who has been incredibly helpful with us. The Drukhari supplement, Reroll Wounds, baby. Yes.
Oh.
AdMech also.
Yeah, no kidding.
Reroll Wounds, one of the most powerful abilities, and it's starting to be handed out like candy.
Yep, and suddenly it's like maybe transhuman wasn't that big a deal after all.
Martin says he's glad that 80 Rax is no longer a thing.
Yeah, it still might be a thing, just letting you know. I don't think it's going to be the same thing that it was, which is really for the best.
Yeah, losing that strat, the regeneration strat is big.
Yeah, and just, the automatic Forp Emblem, like they're objectively less durable now.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. I like Rax. The Covens are my favorite of the 3 sub-factions, other than Inkspy. But ideally wearing trench coats. But indeed. But they're still pretty decent, which is good. They just didn't need to be what they were. So they're going to be viable in different ways. I think that Grotesques and Talos are both more viable than they were previously. And that's good. I don't want, the entire sub-faction to be spam the troop choice. Because then you're just demons, and that's more.
Yeah.
No one wants to be nerfed demons, right?
Demons.
No one wants to be nerfed
demons. Demons, period, John.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, no one wants to be demons.
Question for Richard. What would you do to improve the Custodes IG list you played last week? Honestly, having played, that was obviously the very first time that I played that combination of Imperial Soup. I thought the core elements worked really well.
Yeah.
The Custodes allied with those 2 full payload mana cores, they did a tremendous amount of
thing
work.
right there.
I honestly really like regular guardsmen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to get a couple more units in there, and I also really want to get some chimeras in there. Just another thing, because it takes away firepower from the Telemons, or you're going to shoot at them, and then the chimeras just live with OPSEC inside.
Yep.
So actually, I'm thinking about adding like 1 or 2 chimeras to hold those troops, especially with Drukhari coming out. They got amazing anti-infantry capability, and they're going to go after your OPSEC immediately. I need some way to keep them alive for as long as possible, and I would like to have some reserve, and then the others on the board safe in transports. So, and I think we're going to see that overall, trying to limit the power of Drukhari is more transports.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a pretty powerful direction. So I think I'd like to add 1 or 2 Chimera. I don't really know if the Plasma is that necessary. Like, they're super cheap and nice to have, but with the Custodes allies, maybe less impactful.
Yeah, that makes sense. I definitely support chimeras. I really like chimeras, and just having infantry and transports that is not that expensive can be really valuable in the game right now. So I fully support what you're saying.
Lyle's here because I broke his Necron heart last night.
What did you do to Lyle?
I told him triple Catan is not what you want against
Drukhari?
Drukhari.
That is true. It
Yeah,
is.
whoops,
That is
mortal
not...
wounds everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just like playing as that mech.
Where did the rest of my army painter brushes go?
Those are... Well, my brushes are in there.
Interesting. We'll have to find them.
It was very dangerous leaving them in the middle here because Nick will just take them.
See,
Then they become...
I got an entire... No. But they were detailed brushes with the caps on them.
Maybe they got put into my pile? Maybe... What do they look
This
like?
sounds like... They're all just the army painter ones. I think a lot of those are mine. That's okay. You can use them. I trust you.
I actually haven't been using most of these.
I'm
So
just
if you
going
need
to drop
anyone-
this entire mess into here.
I put them in there just because I don't want Nick making them
That's
dry
true.
brushes.
Maybe we should hide them from Nick.
Yeah. I think at the end of the streams we can just hide them in the drawers.
Yep. All right. No one tell Nick, folks.
Then
No one tell Nick.
Nobody in chat tell Nick. Matt with a £5 super chat. Afternoon, guys. Always good to hear some 40k chat. Thoughts on the armies of renown? Any play with them?
Definitely some play.
There's play. How much play is the question?
Man, that is... So there are 3 armies of renown. It's super fun free blade stuff for knights, which is actually really cool. By being free blades, you're generally going to be lower on damage output, and you lose some of all the sub-faction specific stuff, which is a big bummer. But the way the traits work out, your typical 4 armiger, 3 big knight list can maneuver to have every single big knight have OPSEC. And that is something that I've been really hyping up for knights, is that like, oh man, if I could just make these big knights OPSEC. Well, now I can. I can also potentially give them 6-inch short conventions, which is, again, not a bad place to find yourself in life. So I am cautiously optimistic that this will be cool for knights. I'll definitely try it out at some point. My gut is telling me that House Crast is still better than Freeblades. What did you think about the AdMech one?
The AdMech one, it actually has some very good rules. That OBSEC aura is quite outstanding. -1 damage is always a good rule to have if you're near an objective, which you kind of want to be, or some of the long-range firepower doesn't mind being in your deployment zone. But the main thing there is that restrictions. These armies of renown have some serious restrictions. The AdMech one in particular, no Scutari units. That is brutal because some of the best units that they have are Scutari, unfortunately.
Yeah, they don't have that many units that aren't Scutari, if I'm being honest.
There's a good amount of Cult Mechanicus stuff, but it's not really it's not the stuff that's on the cheaper side of things.
Now, what vehicles are Cult Mechanic or are not Scutari? Is it just the drill, or is there other things as well? I feel like a lot of the tanks are.
Yeah, like the Onagers and Scorpius I believe are both Scutari.
Yep. Now this would be.
But like Castellan robots, obviously, are designed for that.
I'm just thinking
priest
that
units.
This is a great time for them to release rules for all the Forge World stuff.
Yeah,
that would be a good time for that, huh?
It would have been a great time in the actual book.
Yep.
So probably won't see that. But that main limitation of not being able to take the bombers, not being able to take the Cerberus Raiders, that's
definitely a harsh
That's
penalty.
a real limitation.
You do get good stuff for it.
You get good stuff. You do lose your Forge World traits, though, too. Pretty sure.
Well,
It says at the
go ahead and be Metallica then.
Yeah.
Because they've got everything else.
So I think that one, they put good rules in there, but the restriction is a little too much, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If it was no Skitarii units in that detachment, fine. Then I think it would actually see play.
Yeah, absolutely. If that was just detachment. But I honestly like that it's not just a detachment because I didn't want it to become automatic.
Yeah.
Because these new totally not Vigilus formations, the formations are always a little bit weird.
The Cult of Strife one, though, is really powerful.
Yeah. Well, because they don't have a Army of Renown. They just have a codex supplement.
Yeah.
And it's just added good stuff.
Just added
very
good
simple.
stuff.
Just here's some more stratagems, and they're good.
The Death Guard one, then, finally, is probably the worst.
I think so. I think giving up vehicles with Death Guard is just intolerable. Like
no Volkite Contemptors.
No Volkite Contemptors, no Plague Burst Crawlers, no Blight Drones.
Yeah.
And that is not a winning combination for me.
They don't... The detachment itself doesn't benefit Poxwalkers enough.
No. So it lets you deep strike bubonic Astartes that you strategically reserve for an extra command point. The problem is that's literally possessed and Plague Marines. Those are your only 2 units. Because like the Terminators already deep strike for free.
Yep.
And like no vehicles, you get to deep strike, possessed, and Plague Marines 4 extra command points. Like not even like free.
Yeah.
Like that's just not enough upside for me. Now maybe some of the Death Guard players, there's quite a few good ones, will find a way to make that work. However, my gut instinct is that is, again, no vehicles is way too limiting, and the upside is not enough. But the penalty is not that severe. It's just it's too severe for not enough upside.
Yeah.
Like the AdMech is great upside, but man, harsh penalties.
Harsh penalty, yeah. John supporting less plasma. What heresy is this?
No, I didn't say less plasma. Richard said less plasma. I said that I liked adding chimeras. I would still like to keep the 3 plasma command squads in. I think that's worth keeping.
I don't mind going down to 1 Telemon too, just because Trajan becomes a wall we stand, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I was actually thinking like you could take the shield guard from 5 to 4. You could drop one of the dreadnoughts, like the small dreadnought. Honestly, you just have 2 Telemons, and then have more guard elements.
I do like the small dreads though. Those Galatas.
They're pretty good.
Because you can go towards like triple Galatas or at least double,
and
then 1 Telemon holding down the backfield.
Yep.
But I do love the Telemons. 2 is kind of the ideal because you can put 2 different strats on them.
Yep. Yeah, you can do 2 different defense buffs. I think that's fine.
I really like the liquefiers with Dark Technomancers.
Yeah.
You're going to be running some more Coven stuff tomorrow,
I'm going to be running some Coven stuff tomorrow because that's a lot of what we already have ready to go. So a really nice thing with the Dark Technomancer is that they changed their do damage thing to if you miss, which is awkward because it's really bad. It's worse than the wound roll, but it's much better when you have auto hit stuff.
Yeah.
So if you happen to be running liquefier guns, then it's like, all right, well, I'm just +1 to win +1 damage all the time because I'm never gonna miss.
All the time.
All the time. So I'm a big fan of that. However, it does eat up both of your successor traits essentially, and it's rivaling the -1 damage of a name that I've forgotten, but that's one of the other custom traits is just -1 damage, and that also feels very, very powerful.
That's great.
Yeah.
Seeing no definitive Necron list is dominating. If you're going to a GT, what does your Necron list look like? I actually think there's some play to Ghost Arc spam, honestly. 10-man units inside.
Spam, you say?
Yeah, I think it's going to be... It's quite powerful into a lot of these armies that don't really want to kill the squishy stuff in your army. Well, what if I just hide it all in really durable transports? There might be some play there.
Similar to the Chimeras here, just Necrons.
So I'm going to experiment with some Ghost Arc spam. See how that works.
How many Ghost Arcs do we have?
We have 3 of the Doomsday Arcs. That can be Ghost Arcs.
That can be a Ghost Arc.
It's certainly not a fire platform.
No.
Games Workshop's out of that. But we have 1 legit Ghost Arc painted up.
All right.
And then I have a second box that I can build and paint.
Yeah, it might be worth getting around to that.
Any guesstimates about whether the new Scutari unit will buff all Scutari keyword units, just infantry or just rangers, as the community preview mentioned? It's too hard to say.
Yeah,
frankly. I have no idea. I hope it benefits more things than just rangers.
One would hope.
I really hope it has the Vanguard rule too for -1 toughness.
That'd be cool.
Because Metallica got a strat for extending that range, which would be really sweet.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for the keyword Vanguard.
-1 toughness. Put those brushes out of Nick's reach. He is just not allowed to touch any of the detail brushes. Detail is not something that he's known for, in painting at least. For both of you guys, if you were determined to use 5 or 6 Praetors in a list, how would you support them? Pure Custodes or Soup?
Virtus Praetors?
Yeah.
Like the jet bikes?
Yep.
I would still do Soup. I actually wrote a semi-aggressive list. It was very similar actually to the list that Richard ran, but it dropped all the Telemon for 6 Virtus Praetors, and I got a second Dreadnought in. And I think I went a little smaller on the Shield Guard to make that work. Yeah. But I was actually quite happy with that. Because you just get a lot more aggressive pressure, and you still have the indirect fire, and I had a little more plasma in reserve as well.
John loves his plasma.
I do love my plasma. I want more plasma, not less.
Here I was hoping Rights of War would get nerfed, and Games Workshop is just handing out more OBSEC auras.
Well, I think it's very well balanced in the context of more than just Space Marine gets it. And also, Dark Angels are looking more balanced when you consider that more people are getting rerolls to wound. Now, unfortunately, if you're a Tower Tyranid player and you're just not getting access to any of these new rules, I can understand why this is frustrating.
Tau's actually okay on that because they have reroll wounds.
That's true.
They have other problems.
That's true. That's true.
They have other ones.
I think OBSEC, like a Rights of War equivalent,
on Tau would be
more.
amazing.
Yeah, that'd be more long Tau speed.
Siegs with the AdMech hype. I am definitely hype. I'm playing Metallica on Tuesday against John Lennon's Drukhari.
Mm-hmm.
So tune in tomorrow for that game, and then as soon as that codex starts coming out, I will be playing AdMech.
A lot. I'm sure a lot.
Did the -1 damage trait take up both the custom Coven traits as well?
I believe it does, yes.
Yeah. For something as powerful, it really should.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that. I have no complaints here. Perfectly reasonable. I still like Dark Creed the best of the named ones. And I think that's actually a little bit better than -1 damage, but I think if you build the right units in, then the -1 damage becomes very worthwhile.
Is that Talos spam? Or?
Yeah, I think Talos Grotesque spam is where you really want to be the custom trait. And now, if you want to go that direction is an entirely different question. You can. You definitely can.
Matt says, I played Nick in the finals. Great game. How's it going, Matt? You did really well that tournament. That was a really cool Elder list that you were running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
well done on that performance.
Mm-hmm. And the Lynx is...
The Lynx is really cool.
I love seeing big Forge Roll tanks in lists all the time.
You'll appreciate this, Matt. Nick messaged us in our little chat the night before saying, can somebody tell me what a Lynx does?
Before he even knew he was paired into you.
Before he knew he was paired into you, he was just like, what is a Lynx? Drukhari looks real nice. Can't wait to see what craft worlds get. Hopefully I can get my 3 Wraith Knights off the shelf after 4.5 years. 1 Wraith Knight.
Yeah, one Wraith Knight.
3 Wraith Knights, hopefully not. Nick and I have been working on my first GT list, and we opted to drop protocols in favor of Novak Warriors, Flayed Ones, and OBSEC Scarabs Thralls, and of course the King. Shout out to one-on-one coaching. Well, that is excellent to hear. I'm glad Nick has been helping you out. Nemesis Nick in action, doing
the Pharaoh's work.
Doing the Pharaoh's work.
The Overlord's work.
The work of the Silent King.
Oh, yeah, the work of the Silent King. I mean, Nick is a thrall of the Silent King. Everyone knows
is indeed a thrall.
If Nick were a warlord, he would be a thrall of the Silent King.
Meanwhile, I'm an unstoppable destroyer, and John's the all-seeing annihilator.
Mm-hmm. Obviously.
Is John worried to play against the 18 Smash-A-Gun Grot list?
Am I worried about playing into it?
Yes. Does that give you any concerns? Since you're going to Texas. This is Corey from Texas.
Oh, I will need to double check what terrain Dallas is like. However, my recollection of the last 2 Dallas Opens were that I played on a lot of L's. And if I have line of sight blocking terrain, I'm not overly worried about the 18 Smash Gun list. Now, that was run by, I want to say Clinton Russell, who is a fellow Genes of the Cult devotee who is simply waiting for better opportunity, as they say. I think he's the one who took that to the Clutch City GT, and he's quite a good player, so maybe I'm more worried about the player than the list. I think that good terrain can really help mitigate that kind of army. But we shall see. Also, I have no idea what I would be playing into that. I really am not sure what army I'm going to be playing moving forward.
It's Drukhari, John.
I want to play against Drukhari. I like Drukhari a lot, but if I can avoid playing Elves, I would like to. However, Dark Eldar are much better than Eldar. So, we'll see about that. I mean, I gotta have standards somewhere. Right? I'm kidding. Eldar are perfectly fine. I've played Eldar in the past.
John has.
I
He has gone down the dark road.
I have gone down the dark side before.
Bro, Necrons get total objective secured. Why do people focus so hard on Marines? Marine data sheets are just better.
Yeah, Marine Salt, if you, read, if you just check the internet sometimes, there's always salts about Marines. People act like they're still Iron Hands, and Marines are just not that anymore. They're still very good. Marines are a perfectly viable faction.
There's some really silly units like Vanguard vets.
Vanguard are fine.
Get out of here, John.
Vanguard are fine.
John is going to shed many tears when they get the eventual Storm Shield and or just points increase on their body.
You know what? I always like being
deserved.
responsible for nerfs.
Hey guys, Ghost Keels in 9th edition. Speaking of Tau problems, I am not the biggest fan of the Ghost Keel, but I have one somewhere over here. Here it is. Here he is, the Ghost Keel.
Aw, just happen to have this on. This is staged. This is staged, folks.
It's not staged.
This is staged.
He's not painted. But honestly, I don't think he offers enough for how many points. I'd rather just have 2 stealth suit units. That's 6 stealth suit bodies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially because his ability doesn't stack with the drones anymore. And it's just so easy to kill the drones. The drones should get a rule if they're within 3 inches of the Ghost Kill, you can't target them. Something like that to help out, at least, against pluses to hit. Unfortunately, they just went the easy way out. It's the same thing as before. But 9th edition, the modifiers are capped at -1. So, doesn't really have the extra defense. Its damage is completely mediocre.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just am never impressed with it. I'd rather run more stealth suits, get more infantry on the board.
Well, one day you will have
I hope
a Tau Codex, and when it comes out, the Ghost Kill will not be core, and Markolites will only affect core.
Nothing will be core, John.
Nothing will be core.
All the rules
Crude will be core.
Crude are core.
But then, all of your rules will affect Sept core, so then it'll be fine. Except for gunship diplomats.
What am I building here? I'm building a bunch of Tau stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Breachers
More, how do you need more breachers?
I need Viorla breachers. I need to paint them differently.
Oh my god.
I have the Farsight ones and then there's Viorla ones.
Alright. You know what? I painted a separate armature just to be pretty, so fine. Fine.
I have them.
Yeah. If you've got them,
I have enough. The only thing is if the Pulse carbine becomes the weapon of choice.
As soon as someone notices that those are different weapons, which no one ever will, then you're
the Pulse rifle, the blaster, and the carbine. If the carbine becomes the good one, then I do actually need more infantry.
Incredible.
Although I have plenty of Pathfinders. Hope you guys had a great weekend. In case you had a look into the leaks, what are your thoughts on Drukhari's secondaries? I think they are not in line with the previous codex.
I agree. Drukhari's secondaries are not that great. However, the rest of the book is freaking amazing, so I think it's okay.
And I would rather that alternative.
Honestly, yeah, the codex-specific secondaries shouldn't be what makes a codex good. I'm looking at you, Dark Angels. They're fine. There are going to be some very specific circumstances where I take the thing that's totally not Purge the Vermin instead of Engage on All Fronts, but I figure I'm probably going to take Engage on All Fronts anyway. The killing people in close combat, I feel like I'll just take Assassinate and call it a day. If I ever want to take that, I'll just take it to Assassinate instead. Their codex secondaries are not amazing.
Beasts of the Arena? John, come on. That's so fluffy.
A nerf to my beloved Tyranids. And also to Space Wolves. It's like, hold on, you have how many Cyber Wolves? 15 points. Dang it. As if Thundercav needed the nerf. God bless him. I just found the whole thing very amusing.
Does anybody remember Taudar?
I do.
I did not play in that time.
That Taudar is one of the main reason I hate both Tau and Eldar. Now, sure, I have occasionally wavered in my staunch support for the Imperium. Occasionally, I have been captured in the clutches of Dark Eldar, and also Harlequins, and also Craftworlds. But But you know what? Never taken Tau to a tournament. Tau was the worst. Tau was the absolute worst. You don't want to be here for that.
I don't need Eldar allies to win the Tau.
To be fair, I also brought Knights and Flyrants in the same list against Tau. So it was a weird time. I think this is better.
Thoughts on Necron heavy destroyers? Some prominent Cron players seem to be using them, and MSU backfield objective holders. I frankly think there's so much anti-tech in the game that single ones just get picked off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your Marine player showed up with multi-melt attack bikes. Well, one goes here, one goes there, one goes there. They're dead. Because they have no defense, basically, besides a handful of wounds. I just think they're a little overcosted, like a 10-point decrease, 15 points, and then we can start talking about heavy destroyers. Mm-hmm. Or they need their weapon to be rethought. I'd rather Crypto Thralls, just something much cheaper. And, you lose out on the firepower, but honestly, Necrons, their firepower just is overcosted right now. They did not do well on the firepower side of things.
Yep.
Mark Hertel slapping at the weekend with the Styges AdMech list running 2-man Laz chicken units, Corpuscari, Fulgurites in transports, preserve while we stand on the Belarus tanks. Yeah, I think that's a very strong list. Mark has been running AdMech for a while now. And doing, quite
he's
well.
always done quite well with it. He's a really good player, too.
Yeah. Well, John has played against him several times.
I've played Mark quite a few times.
So, I think he's doing really well with it. It's going to be interesting to see whether he switches over to Metallica. What are the weaknesses in the 50 Warrior Ghost Arc Silent King builds? You have to be very careful against units that can pick up the warriors in one go. So units with tremendous volume of attacks or lots of mortal wounds, like some of these new, like the Hellion unit that Drukhari can put out.
So many mortal wounds.
So you have to be very careful again, like Plasma Inceptors, all that. You also need to be you have to always be in the various auras. You need to be benefiting from potential 5-up Overwatch from the Silent King and with his full rerolls. You need to be in range of the Ghost Arc, the Resorb. All that needs to be set up so that you can take maximum advantage of those rolls. So positioning with the army is a big deal. You need a lot of practice just moving the army over the course of the game because it can be very easy to mess up. But we did an entire clinic on reanimation protocols and resurrecting models. There's so many questions you need to be thinking about, so definitely check that one out in the war room.
Yeah. You said the words mortal wounds, and I just immediately thought of the Drukhari Succubus.
Yeah. Succubus.
I had a Succubus charge into... we played a game last night with the Drukhari rules for the first time. Had Succubus charge into some Black Templar Blade Guard veterans. I rolled 7 1s on 10 dice, and I didn't do anything. But I left combat because I was Dark Eldar. And then I tried again the next turn, and then I did 6 mortal wounds and 6 damage to a chaplain on bike. Like, like the big beefy Primaris chaplain on bike, like this dude is like actually...
He went down.
Oh my god. Just straight off the table. Don't roll 7 1s, everything else will work. Or, I can't figure out how to give her reroll 1s, actually, while also doing the stuff I want to do, so just don't do that. You'll be fine. I'm gonna grab some paint real quick.
There's a question about Custodes up here. Given the current trajectory of the edition, what kinds of changes would you want to see in a new Custodes codex? I would like them to flesh out the plastic line, give them a couple more options. Their stratagems are great. No issue with those. They have some good warlord traits and relics.
I think they need more mortal wound or defense.
Mortal wound defense, and that's like the main just baseline weakness, and that's typically why you go for allies, but also just cheap units. I would really like to see Sisters of Silence become a troop choice.
I think that if
the Custodes, something like
Death Guard.
Exactly, like Death Guard. Like if you bring a Custodes troop unit, you can then have troops as
I don't want to see a battalion of 15 Sisters of Silence and 2 bike captains. Yeah. That's lame. But one Custodes Guard squad, 1 Sisters of Silence squad, like that, I think that's all right.
Yeah, and that'll help make pure Custodes much more viable.
Yep. Yeah, just some expanded rules for Sisters of Silence would really go a long way for the faction.
Also, some indirect fire. Come on now. Custodes out of anybody.
Why would Custodes get indirect fire? I feel like they don't
have
really
the
do
best
tanks.
tech in the Imperium.
They do.
Why would I shoot a gun if I could just shoot another gun that ignores line of sight? Come on, John. You know you want it.
Yeah, but I feel like most of the high-tech stuff is laser beams, not
Or give them more options for speed.
More options for speed feels a lot more Custodes.
I would really like some extra speed in here. Because I could see them getting some double move strat or something like that, or one way to get advance and charge. I mean, these are the best heroes of the Imperium. They should have the.
I gotta say, I like the lore. I like keeping up. One of the new novels they put out, GW is doing this new like book series that they're saying is going to be the next Horse Heresy, and it's not there yet. But it's like Dawn of Fire. I'm reading the second book in that. And like this is the first time that the Custodes are really getting fleshed out in 40k that I've read. And like, oh boy, these guys are badasses. Won't spoil too much, but like there's a scene where like one Custodes like walks into the room and like there's like a sister's convent and they just go straight up fangirl. They're like, oh my god, he saw the this is one of the oh my god, they go crazy.
Total objectives secured on vehicles. Wraiths are just as interesting as any Space Marine data sheet. 4+ invuln, fallback charge. So yeah, I agree with John. People are just scared from 8th edition.
Yeah, I think that's it. And now Marines are still very good. And, there was some early 9th edition as well where Marines definitely were really strong. But Marines have aged very well in the context of not being OP. Where, like, the first time, first codex of 9th edition, we're like, oh man, Marines are still OP again. But, like, honestly, no. Like, as everyone else is getting their codexes, everyone else is keeping right up. Even Dark Angels, which were just heralded as being OP, are not exactly making a splash on the tournament scene. Like, I'm just not seeing Dark Angels do anything, somehow.
Then you look at the list and they have 1 or 0 talent masters.
That's true. I keep looking at
what is going on? Can we just
No comment. I don't want to...
Can we just play the...
I don't want to throw people under the bus, but yeah, I'll admit that's part of it.
Looking at win rates doesn't tell you the whole story.
That's true.
Especially when you have to go to physical tournaments now. And
yeah, and actually have the models painted.
Yep. That is a real thing.
Well, that's why there's so many Deathcore of Krieg riders on the WTC
yeah.
teams. It's like, all right, well, this is TTS, and like no one actually owns this.
Even we're like, we're not.
we have 20.
Like, we have 20, but
that was a modest deal that we just happened to get.
Yeah,
I was not going out of my way for that. If my friend hadn't offered to sell me 20 that were already painted, I would not have. We need to get those on stream.
For Drukhari rating force, what would you use for the vehicles? Blackheart for the boost and rerolls, the PFP boost. Power from Pain.
I think I still like Blackheart as part of a rating force, just to have rerolls on Dark Lances with Master Artisans are really good. First of all, I know this is shocking to no one, but Dark Lancers really like that. And just Vect is still actually a really good tool. None of the Cabals are so amazing that I want to spam them. Poison Tongue would probably be the I'm taking a lot of Cabals answer. But I think as a splash, I think Blackheart's still the best. Because they do splash pretty well.
John does like a splash.
I do like to make a splash.
Played my first game of Dark Angels this weekend. Usually I play Scars. Are there just some matchups that can't handle Dark Angels? Played Custodes and the game was virtually over by the end of turn 2.
There are definitely a lot of armies that cannot handle Dark Angels. I don't think that they're going to just dominate the entire meta. I think that there are plenty of answers to Custodes in the grand scheme of things, but army to army, some people just straight up don't have it. Transhuman is really rough into people that don't have access to rerolls or really good weights of fire.
Yeah,
and then
or
mortal wounds. And Custodes do not have a lot of rerolls to wound, and they definitely don't have mortal wounds.
Yep. Void Dragon, auto include change my minds. Play against Admech or any of the factions that just, or Drukhari now, just kill
Catan super fast.
Kill him in a single turn.
Yeah, that's...
He's good against like Venom spam, but the problem is now that they have mortal wounds in multiple phases, it is actually just possible, and they have the speed to get to him.
Oh, yeah.
It's possible for them, even an army that you would want the Void Dragon against, they could still just kill him. So, I don't know, they're 8-inch moving things. You really need... It's about the list built around the Catan.
Yeah.
And the lists that I've seen do not have the bodies to protect the Catan. Play against John's Tyranid list, good job. Without any body screening, he'll just tackle the Catan, and that's that.
Yeah.
And they're stuck in place and not doing enough. So, I don't know. I think the lists that are supporting the Catan haven't been good enough. In this meta, at least. And certainly with Drukhari coming.
Drukhari are going to change the meta. I don't think that they're going to be OP broken, no one can beat Drukhari. But you definitely have to respect and plan for them.
Checking in on that Tau and Eldar hate. People mad at Space Marines being good for 2 years, like they weren't around for 10 years of Xenos dominance. Especially Craft Worlds.
Yep, and that's why I'm salty about Eldar. It's not because there's anything wrong with them. And yes, I played them when they were good. I'm a bandwagon fan. That's okay. But I like to tease. Richard, in his Tau.
I enjoy it.
He savors it. Richard
really
actually
I really do.
He really enjoys the salt. It's actually where he gets his sustenance from. I've never seen him eat. He just takes plates of food into his room and then a fresh plate is slipped out from the door. It's interesting.
What about Necron vehicle spam with interplanetary invaders that fall back and shoot? Saw 3 Tesseract Arcs, 3 Annihilation Barges with Catan build going full jank. Seem really good with OBSEC. It's definitely not bad. Especially if you ally in that, I like Ghost Arcs with the Warriors inside. If you're doing that. Get the double OBSEC because there is, like we've seen and said throughout, there's so much OBSEC in the game right now.
There is
and ability to get OBSEC. Having double OBSEC, there is actually value to that now.
Yeah, a number of people's big.
What do you think a good competitive Tau list would be and why? I think it starts with 9 Airburst Crisis Suits. And then it's supported by Breachers and as many 2-man drone units as you can fit naturally.
Yep. Now, you actually tried this out on stream recently, right?
Yep, I played 2 different games. One against John's Guard, and then I played 1 game into Nick's Sisters.
Yeah, and it performed very respectfully in both.
Yeah, I mean, I was in both games. I technically won the game against Guard.
I think so, yeah.
Though Nick
I think we tied and
twice
then, Nick
messed up the score.
Yeah.
First, he told me I had to kill both Manticores with the Fusion Commander. Then he forgot to count any of the points for the Vital Grounds, but that's okay.
We think Richard won.
Anyway, even if it was a draw, that's great performance there because Guard a really powerful army. And then
I think so.
Against the Sisters. Just a couple misplays really hurt me on the primary, but otherwise I was tabling
also,
him.
they
were tabling
and
Sisters.
That's Nick's tournament-winning
Sisters, but I was tabling that tournament-winning Sisters.
Yeah.
And didn't lose by that much. So
Tom got some options.
So I definitely think Crisis Suits supported by the Breachers are actually a very strong core. I'm going to hopefully run an updated version of my list soon.
I'd love to see it.
What happened to Celestians for Sisters? Everyone was taking 20, now you never see them. John was also a big fan of Celestians.
I think that the Zephyrin points changes were really big. And also the meta very quickly caught on to how to kill Sisters infantry. And we started needing more transports, and then Retributors got a buff. With the multi-melta buff, I stopped looking at Celestians for my melta weapons, and I started looking at Retributors. And I think that's just where the points had to come from. Because I was running Celestians that reroll their hit rolls with melta guns and combi meltas, and then now I just have Retributors. I really prefer that.
We have a $10 super chat from Matt. Oh, thank you so much, Matt. Looking forward to the matches this week. Love the new Drukhari book, but a bit perplexed that Lilith is not even the best character duelist in her own cult anymore.
I don't have an answer to that. The thing is that Lilith got a lot better, so I don't want to say that she's bad.
No, she is.
We are looking to get that nice plastic model. Once we do get her painted up pretty, we absolutely have to put her on stream. However, boy, the relics and warlord traits you can put on just random people, those are powerful. Those are
the
good.
Hero Hammer is real.
Yeah, Drukhari got Hero Hammer, no problem.
Which honestly I wasn't expecting.
I wasn't either, but I'm not mad to see it.
No.
You want a nice succubus to be really good in combat, and well, here we are. Yeah, just the way that they buff up the lore on these people, you don't want them to be bad in combat.
Yeah, I like the little drukhari upgrades. I think they did it the best with Drukhari. You look at the Blood
Absolutely.
Angel Death Company ones, and you're like, this is a miss. On rules.
You look at
This
the
is just
Tyranid.
awful.
Oh. My 4-attack Flyrant in here.
Only has 4 attacks.
I have Tyranids 4 attacks.
Oh, I thought it was 5. Wow, 4.
Don't know what to tell you.
Same attacks as the Tau Commander, John. Good times. Making a Deathwatch list right now for all comers and have a hard time incorporating tools for Necrons plus rival Marines on the same list. Fun trying though. Honestly, Plasma Scepters are great into the Marine Mirror matchup and into
So
into
is the
Necrons.
Reaver Lieutenant.
The Reaver Lieutenant. There's some good tools that you can build into Deathwatch to be good into both of those. But Nick is, I think, heading towards a lot of MSU Deathwatch.
That's what I want to do.
It'll be interesting to see where he goes. I think the bigger miss is that they can't get multi-melt attack bugs, right?
Yeah, but honestly, I think that ends up being okay. With Drukhari coming out, I suddenly don't want that many multi-multi attack
that's
bikes.
fair.
Suddenly, I'm just like much less excited about this.
Our friend Jack had a bunch of Eradicators last night, and boy, were they not making their points back.
I don't know. It took all my firepower for 2 turns, and that was all they did.
Your firepower wasn't that great.
It wasn't that much, no.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was acceptable levels of fire.
Yeah. Some in my local meta is 30 Krieg Riders. Pretty sure they took out a second mortgage. I don't envy that.
Yep. Oof. Man, but there's just some Krieg players who are just like, I've been playing Krieg since the models came out in 3rd edition. I'm like, you know what? And they're painted beautifully. I can't be mad about that.
No.
Of course, also awesome. And I'm pretty sure that they used to cost less from Forge World. So the people that got them, 12 years ago, might actually just, have them.
No, I have to find the arms that go on this.
Ooh, the arms?
The arms that connect to the gun.
Oh, no. Oh, it's different arms for each.
Different arms for each gun, John.
Oh, no. What have you done?
I found it.
Okay. You have made this so much harder than it needed to be.
I have.
Godspeed.
We'll get there.
Alright. I'm just working on my contempt.
John, how do you feel about your NIDS list against the new Drukhari?
Oh boy. That's a very interesting game. Indirect fire is so relevant. So relevant. Like, that is a thing that you just have to have.
Yep.
So I'm really happy with Hive Guard still. Demon Karens are staying in. Really need to... The Witch Cult thing is... It's a very interesting game. Like, I honestly really want to play this one at some point. This may be a war room match in the future, I'm thinking. Once we kind of get our feet settled on what we want a Drukhari list to look like. Tyranids, I think, can play into them, but by no means is this a cakewalk. It's too... Anytime you have 2 fragile, fast, hard-hitting melee armies, it always gets weird. And I think Drukhari do it a little bit better, but I'm wondering if Tyranids might do the support pieces better. So I think their support pieces are not quite as fragile as the Dark Elder ones. It's tough to make that call, though, honestly. They're both really good-looking factions right now. Drukhari are definitely more diverse, so I kind of want to see what they're actually going to end up looking like before I say anything there. I really like the new Drukhari codex, though. Honestly, I think it's one of the best written codexes they've ever done. It's right up there in my mind with the Sisters codex we got at the end of 8th edition. To me, that was the best codex they've ever written. And then this Drukhari codex is giving me really similar feels.
Yeah, I think it's really well designed. A lot of build options.
A lot of build options, and it actually feels Drukhari-esque.
Yep. And
there are very few things that I wouldn't consider taking in Dark Eldar.
Yeah, which is what you want to see. You don't want to half the army be completely unviable.
Like, literally, units that I have literally no interest in is
Claude Fiends?
Some of the beast options.
Claude Fiends.
The Chimera are also really bad, I think. Claude Fiends and Chimera. And you know what? Sean Aiden's going to go in a major with... He's going to beat me at Dallas with, a Claude Fiend. Because someone's going to tell him about this, and I'm going to cry. But, yeah, the Claude Fiend and the Chimera are the two... Because even Razorwing Flocks, not expensive.
Yeah, it's just cheap.
They went up to their... Yeah, you have to have 3 of them in his squad. There was some questions about that because GW printed 3 different things. And they were all contradictory. So they do have to be 3-man squads now. But, man...
Sliss and Urguls?
Actually decent. Like the Court of the Archon, shockingly playable. Considering what this unit is normally, this is shockingly playable.
I've never seen the Court of the Archon on the table.
Yeah. Well, it didn't even exist in the last codex.
But some of the everybody besides
a single Urgul. Yeah.
Forgetting actions.
Which was good. So it's a noble profession. Action Monkey is a very important position in court. It's like a court jester.
We need more Jakaro.
We do need a literal action monkey. I love it.
Let's see what we got. Not gonna lie, quite excited to face off against Smash Archons and other Dark Eldar characters.
The Archon, I'm the least sold on. Succubus, 10 out of 10, absolute win. You could put 2 Succubus in a list, and I have no complaints. Drazar takes your lunch money. Archon, still a little hesitant about, to be honest.
What would you build around 3x9 OBSEC Scarabs? Almost anything that you want.
That's a good start.
Almost anything that you want. You could build warriors around. You can put that in the Silent King build. I've done that. You could put it in a more custom dynasty with tons of canoptic stuff, wraiths, etc. Scorpec destroyers, like my client Nick Keever. You can check out the Art of War podcast episode with him for that list. But you can also do vehicle spam with just scarabs running around as well.
Could you touch a little bit of glue to the bottom of this man's head? Helmet's all done, so I'm just gonna drop it down. Boop. Thank you. I am working on a magnetized contemptor right now. Dun, dun, dun.
Is 3 Telemasters too much if I'm leaning on bikes for OBSEC rather than Deathwing?
Nope. That 3 is perfect.
3
is a good number. I think 2 is a minimum. 3 is perfectly reasonable. I have written lists that have 3. I've written lists that have 2, and I think that's just kind of a time and a place. If you have less Deathwing and you're going more for the speed, I think 3 Tailmasters is totally fine. They're just really good.
They're just really cheap for what they get.
It's a good package right there. Provide some buffs, provide some shooting, don't get shot back. All right, I'm
in. I do have Reavers, Infiltrators, Inceptors, Heavy Intercessors in my list. Just seem to lack combat potential besides 5-man Blade Guard unit and Veterans plus Termi Squad.
Assault Intercessors. I'm kidding. Combat is shoot them more.
Assault Intercessors.
Or, you know what? I really wanted to like Assault Intercessors in Deathwatch.
Yeah.
There was a short period of time where I didn't understand how the keywords worked for Deathwatch kill teams, because boy, did they not make that clear. And I thought that if you put an Assault Intercessor into one of the Primaris Super units, then they got the Assault Intercessor keyword, and that means they can fight twice. And I sat down and opened the book, and I was like, no, it does not. It does not mean that. It was very close to meaning that, but that is not what it means.
What do you think about the Dark Creed Talos so you can keep the character's sniping strat in your back pocket?
It is really cool. I think I'd rather be -1 damage, personally, because 3 CP is very harsh. I plan to run Witch Cults a lot, and I think Witch Cults are going to consume the majority of my CP. If you aren't going Cult of Strife heavy, and you don't need to fight twice and reroll wounds, and you don't Overwatch and do all the really cool thing Witch Cult does, then I think that's more viable. So if you're going primarily Covens, I think that's a very real thing. But as soon as you start taking Witch Cults, I think that wants more of the command points, and then I would rather have -1 damage, because -1 damage is just so easy to just leave by itself.
It's just good straight up.
It's just good. You're not using any strats on it other than generic things. You're just doing your stuff. You're healing for free. You're a durable unit with pretty decent shooting. You keep an Archon Knight nearby to reroll some ones. That's just a healthy place to find yourself.
What would you commit the Veil play early game in the Silent King build? When would you commit the Veil play? I pretty much never do that. Mm-hmm. The only time I did it was a turn 2 against John's AdMech when I know I needed to overwhelm his position.
Curse you.
So
hit all my charges.
I had one unit Veil so it could charge on the left side, and then I had the other unit charge into the
Silent King. Just be like, well, let's just see if he hits a 10.
He does. He just does it.
I don't like this.
It's a Silent King.
Don't like this at all.
So that's the game where I went for just overwhelming because, AdMech have so much shooting. You really need to tie it down. But otherwise, I pretty much save it for late game. And sometimes it's just the threat of having it that forces your opponent to play differently. Sometimes I don't even end up using it.
I think that's a lot more valuable.
How are Sisters' list going to change with Drukhari in mind?
Man, this new tank looks really good. I think that they're going to go slightly away from the multi-meltas. I actually think that this makes me want mortifiers again, if I'm being honest with you. The Drukhari Codex makes me want mortifiers. Now, they're not that amazing into Death Guard and Dark Angel, so I want to see how prevalent those are in the meta before I just cut all my multi-guns. But I really like mortifiers in the context of Drukhari. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all goes down. See, I'm also, with a new tank and a new Palatine and the Nundum. The sisters' nicknames that people are giving them are hilarious, by the way. Because they're calling the new mech the Nundum.
The Nundum.
The new battle tank that looks like a predator, the Predator.
The Castigator.
The Castigator, yeah. Yeah. Oh man. It was of course called Cassie. What is it? The Gunnery of the Nunnery is my favorite one so far. Like, this is incredible. Like, I don't know what it is about like the Sisters players making memes, but the Sisters meme game that I've been seeing on the internet recently has been strong.
Take thee to the nunnery.
That's probably just TK Penny, just memeing constantly.
Where are the rest of these shoulder pads? How do you guys see the Marine meta changing going forward?
Ooh, I think we really need to see what Dark Eldar actually looks like, because Dark Eldar and their current iteration, or what I expect is going to be like the competitive build, which is very Witch Cult heavy, feels like a problem for combat Marines. Not an unsolvable problem, but I really think that Marines need to take a second and see like what the heck are Dark Eldar doing. Like Dark Angels into that feels very difficult. I think Marines need a lot more speed and a lot more guns than they've been doing. So I think trying to outfast melee Dark Eldar is a very questionable game plan.
They just have cheaper units that hit almost as hard, or sometimes even
harder. Yeah, and their transport game is very strong as well, so you need to kill those transports. And you need to do it before the unit gets out and punches you to death. Because after is not nearly as much fun. Trust me.
What are your first thoughts about the Drukhari? Do you think there is potential for top tier? 100%.
100%. Not a question.
Not even a question.
Nope. Drukhari are going to win tournaments. Big tournaments. Like this is going to happen.
Also, what are your thoughts on 3-man heavy eradicators in encirclement for white scars so you can pop and blast stuff before your opponent can respond?
I still don't like that because you take the heavy penalty. You can't advance and do cool white stuff tricks without losing half of your shots with eradicators because they don't double shoot if they advance anymore. So for me, that's not worth it. I would rather take the attack bike still if I want that style unit in white scars. It's not terrible. I know a lot of people like White Scar Eradicators. I personally, however, would still shy away from them.
$5 super chat from Matt. Oh, thank you so much, Matt. Once again, thoughts on the Void Raven bomb changes? Unsure if it's better or worse. It is very interesting.
Very good.
The 6-inch...
6-inch aura of a 4+ is D6 mortal.
D6 mortals.
Could do so much. And it could do nothing.
Yep.
And that's the reality of that bomb. But it's not bad.
But with the FAQ where you can fly off the table and still do it,
yeah,
so I think it's survive for longer. But it's also in the context of all the other mortals that Drukhari can do.
Yeah.
You could actually just drop a metric ton of mortals on your opponent in a single
Absolutely.
turn.
You could mortal out a Deathwing Terminator unit in one turn if you put a bit of effort in. Like, it's not likely, but man, you can really hurt them.
Yeah, you can you can bring the pain train.
Drukhari is strong. There is no doubt in my mind that there is going to be a lot of different options for this codex. Which is good, you know. I don't want mono build stuff in the game. I think that's boring.
Is the Judiciary coming out of the closet?
No. His aura is too small, and my models are too big. I will say this makes me want a lot more mid-ranged firepower, like suppressors and plasma interceptors, and God help me, the Invictor Warsuit with autocannons.
What?
That would be really good into Drukhari. If you want to just scoop
Why not
up
just take the Redemptor?
You can take 3 of each. I wrote an Ultramarines
3
list.
of each?
I wrote an Ultramarine list that has 5, Redemptor Invictors in it. I was like, this. I'm like, this will kill Dark Eldar. Like, this will do it. So I'm like, how do I kill these darn things? I'm like, that'll do.
Yeah, because if you go overwhelmingly into Witch Cults, you're not really killing vehicles as efficiently. You can still kill them, but...
Yeah. We'll see.
If
Custodes Dreadnoughts might actually be good into Witch Cults.
I'm sure they will be.
Yeah, it's like, all right, 2-up save, no
you
no
wanted to
rerolls.
reroll wounds? No,
Like, stop.
Get out.
Good, lots of flamers, good Overwatch. Like, yeah, I'm totally fine to 7 combat. Here's 2d6 hits plus also like my bolt guns, and then we're gonna start.
Custodian Dreads is just good.
They are really good. Yeah.
Also, the -1 strength is brutal on Drukhari. Because even though they can get combat...
Oh, God, yeah.
The minus... I'm going to bring you right back. You got to strength 5? That's so good for you, except I'm going to 1 CP
So
bring
you
that back
sit
down.
right back down. That's true, actually. The Shadowkeeper Dreads would probably do well. You've got to score the mission, but you could actually do good work there. That's interesting.
No, I think... Like, Custodes just need a couple little things, and they're still so strong.
The mortal wounds are what I'm worried about there.
Yeah,
still.
definitely. All right, going back to some other questions. Siegs, what about the sleeper Grey Knights versus Drukhari? Grey Knights are strong.
Grey Knights are still strong.
Drukhari. Talk about silencers all over the place with Stormbolters ignoring line of sight. Like, that's gonna do some damage. Yeah. Grey Knights can pick up a lot of Drukhari stuff really quickly.
That's very true.
They don't like mortal wounds, but that's why if you go for the builds that I've been doing where you have just a lot more units overall, it's not easy for the Drukhari to deal with all that, especially coming out of Reserve, Gate of Infinity.
Yeah.
So I think Grey Knights they definitely have play into Drukhari. We'll have to see it on the table, but I think on the surface they definitely have play.
Yeah, I'd agree to that.
Why you not have 40k subs?
We should have 40k subs. We merely have 10k subs. We will work on getting 30k more.
We are working on getting to 40k.
100%. We have to do something big at 40k subs.
Yeah. Apocalypse game?
Nick dresses up in a snake costume?
Not perfect, Slith. Nick is a Slith.
Nick would be a perfect Slith. Doesn't everyone think?
I think so.
We should do something for 40k.
Let's shake on Nick being a Slith on 40k on stream.
Absolutely.
When you shake on stream, that's it. Except when Nick wanted to play Talent to my Tyranids.
Oh my god. See, I could have just not told him what D. McCarran's did and just kind of slowly painted them and see if he noticed.
I ever thought about mastercrafting the Talmaster's autocannon or assault cannon?
Unfortunately, you cannot give relics to vehicles. Some of them have callouts that let you give it to a Talmaster, but mastercrafted weapons does not. Trust me, I would if I could.
John would.
I would if I could. That is the thing I would be doing.
I ordered 12 Mortifiers in Nick's first few games. He was like, Mortifiers doing nothing. Then the last game, Mortifiers pop off Whirlwind of Emotions.
Mortifiers are good.
They are good.
They're not great into specifically the 2 books that came out recently, which is Dark Elder and Death Guard. So if those are the dominant factions in a general meta, they're not going to be great.
I also don't think they're that amazing into AdMech.
Oh, I like them in AdMech a lot.
You like them into AdMech?
I do, yeah.
Really?
I thought they were good.
Okay, you played my Stygies combat list though, like a normal Mars AdMech
Yeah,
list.
they'll die.
Yeah.
But there's other things.
There are a lot of points for.
There are a lot.
I'm
of
just
points.
gonna.
I don't think you need 12.
Yeah, 12 is
12 is too much. 12 is really fun.
Yeah.
12 is too much. Yeah, that's true. If AdMech come out and they're just guns akimbo, then
yeah, because it's a lot of shots.
It's a lot of shots. Yeah. There's no argument against that.
I'm just saying, we don't know for sure.
That's true, yeah.
AdMech could become the melee codex, who knows? Probably not. But you never know.
I mean, we don't know, but we can be pretty sure, right?
No, Tau will become the new melee codex.
I would be upset.
Tau commanders get the gauntlet, the Honor gauntlet becomes flat 6 attacks.
Already better than a 5 tyrants, whatever.
If you put an attack bike in a bike squad in a race Ravenwing detachment, does the unit get OBSEC?
Yes, which is pretty cool. Because it's still a bike squad. That's still the name of the unit. Just that an attack bike squad does not, which I think is dumb. I think attack bike should. But honestly, Dark Angels don't particularly need help, so I can't complain much. They're plenty strong.
Played a Drukhari practice game against my Marines. Very tough. Transport rushed middle. Popped them, but next turn his whole army advanced towards my deployment zone. What do I do here?
You need to kill them faster. And I don't know what you play, and I don't know what your buddy played, but in general, if you don't kill Drukhari fast enough, you're going to get swamped and wrecked. Because I did the exact same thing to Space Marines last night, where I rushed him with transports, he killed some transports in one unit, and then I swamped him. And then the game was over. And that's kind of how that went. And I was like, interesting. 3 turns, okay? That's what you need to kill to table 2,000 points of Black Templars, who are very good into Mortal Wound spam. If it hadn't been Black Templars, it might have happened earlier. Because I did a lot of Mortal Wounds to the Black Templar army, and they were just ignoring all of them. Very frustrating. Yeah, no, I don't have a final answer there. We're going to really be breaking this down in the Worm this week in all of our clinics, as well as in our coaching match, and then we're going to have 2 more games with Drukhari coming up on our streams. I'm very excited to just generally see how this goes. Because Drukhari are super duper cool. And you know what? It's good to see Drukhari be this interesting and not one-dimensional, relying on GW accidentally made 1 unit too cheap. You know, which is the reason they were viable a month ago.
Let's just make these racks 8 points and keep all their old rules.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
What?
What? Wait a minute.
What troops do you like for Ultramarine Seal of Oath lists? Do you think counter-charge units like Blade Guard are still necessary or go full shooting?
I like 1 unit of Blade Guard still, although it depends on how heavy you go on other elements. For example, Redemptors. If you have a bunch of Redemptors, I don't think you need Blade Guard, frankly. I think I like Incursors and Infiltrators best, but I do like 1 unit of Assault Intercessors as well. Mostly just because I like having a little extra combat in Ultramarine list, because there's generally enough guns to make people want to get kind of close to you, and you want to be ready for that. You very much want to be ready for that.
My favorite unit name is the Big Hammer Cow from Age of Sigmar, the Beefer of Secrets.
The Beefer. I do like that one too. Who said that?
That was... where are you? That's Dead Souls.
Dead Souls, yeah. The Beefer of Secrets is definitely a good one.
Damn it, Elves back with a vengeance. Yep.
Yeah, Elves are back, folks. It's been a good run. It's been fun. Everyone complaining about Space Marines is in for a reality check of what 7th edition was like. The Elves are back. Oh my god.
Also, John's Pink Pots are
That's
back.
right. It was fully closed, but it slipped out of my
That
hand.
would have been a disaster.
That would have been bad. I would have apologized profusely.
We would have also had that on stream for
That would
eternity.
have been bad too. But you know what? At least it wasn't me like showing you a Harlequin model. You know?
Yeah. Let me just.
That was a
or the
classic.
X-Acto knife.
Did Nick do that
He has cut himself with the X-Acto knife.
on stream?
Yeah,
Oh my god! Why?
repeatedly.
Why was he using an X-Acto knife on stream?
I tried to take it away from John. I tried.
Oh, no.
Think of the smaller Vexator Mask aura makes it less viable as well.
You know, I think so, and also because Drukhari got 5 million different ways to make you fight last. The Vexator Mask is out. Prophets of Flesh is gone, as far as I'm concerned. It's not bad. You know, like, Transhuman sometimes is not terrible. But, like, I just don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
There is plenty of good options in this book, and when you start doing, like, leadership shenanigans with your Incubi, like, you read the rule, and it's like, roll 2d6, and if you beat your opponent's leadership, they fight last. I'm like, okay, that sounds fine, but, like, that's not going to come out much, right? Then you think about, what if my opponent is -4 to their leadership? And it's like, you know what? This is going to come up. This is going to come up a lot. And also, it makes charging Incubi really hard, because anytime you charge Incubi, they might just accidentally roll a 10 and mess up your entire day. Like, anything charging Incubi is like, this could go bad.
It really could.
Yep. Because, like, Incubi will just kill 5 Angro veterans that are too close
Do
to
they
them.
have pluses to leadership?
Who? Space Marines?
No, Drukhari.
Black Card is generically +1 leadership.
Oh, but Incubi don't get
No.
the trait. Yeah.
No. But I mean, you roll off on the enemy's leadership. It's not a roll off.
Oh, okay.
It's 2d6.
It's
beat
2d6
the
beat
opponents.
theirs, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not their characteristic, right? It's just their leadership.
Yeah, it's their modified. It's their leadership characteristic, but it's the modified version. It's not a modified. So like, if they're near a chaplain, it goes to 9. And if they're near a Dark Creed Venom that has Grizzly trophies, it goes down to like 6.
Part 2, my Tau query, Devilfish and 9, yay or nay. I see you tend to go for the extra bodies over the transport with your list. Seems alright for the points now. It is viable. It went down, with the last points update, it went down to 70 points base, and then you pay 10 points each for either SMS or gun drones. 90 points total. It is actually reasonable for a 12 wound T7 3-up armor transport that moves
How
quite
fast does it move?
12 inches, I believe.
Just 12. Okay, but it flies.
But it flies, yeah. Like,
Fly always helps.
it's a solid transport now. So I actually think it is viable. If you want to run them, I would totally run them. I have one that I'm working on over here.
Ooh, another one? We needed more devilfish somehow.
Devilfish.
Unacceptable. Utterly unacceptable.
Watching Hellions vanish from online stores in about 5 minutes was kind of wild.
We luckily have a decent number of Hellions. We unluckily have a lot of new ones sprue Hellions.
Yes.
Which is not bad, but right now I wouldn't mind the painted versions.
Yep. Unfortunately, there was very little reason to paint them beforehand.
Yeah, we just kind of had them, and I'm glad we did, but we definitely haven't painted them yet.
Yeah, it's like, these would be nice to have if they ever get good. Oh, they actually got good? Well, we should have probably painted these.
Yeah. I mean, we were busy working on the Harlequins, though.
Yeah.
Just always paint what's good now, therefore you have something else to paint next month.
Without giving away your great service, what would you build a list around for a 1250 Iron Hands list?
A Volkite Contemptor Dreadnought.
Volkite Contemptor Dreadnought from Forge World. You heard it here first.
Exactly what I would. That is where I would start the list.
If we're doing pun names, I came up with my friend's crazy IG list. Blaster Militarum, and my favorite Necron ones is Warriors.
I do like Blaster Militarum.
Is Soup Drukhari something we should consider? You lose power from pain, but get a wider set of options and strats.
Frankly, I think that Advanced in Charge is going to prove to be better than anything the allies bring. However, I respect that as allies get new codexes as well, since Harlequins and Eldar are both sitting on 8th edition codexes that aren't exactly new. If they get new books, then maybe that changes. I think that Advanced in Charge on Witch Cults is crazy. It's insane to me.
Well, Advanced in Charge is just one of the best rules in the game.
Absolutely. Advanced in Charge is just faction defining rule. And just here's the whole army turn 2. It's like, what?
We got Matt O with another super chat.
Matt
really appreciate your
support. Matt O is closing out strong the month of March.
We have Matt and Matt O vying for those top 2 spots as the top super chatters.
Vying for top Matt. I mean, we had Matt Douthit before. There's
been a string of
we
legendary
have a
Matts
strong tradition of powerful Matts in our chat.
Yes. The Matts reign supreme. So, last Drukhari question: do chain flails still have a place on the Talos?
I think they lost the rerolls to Wounded. That makes me really freaking sad. I've probably...
This is the 1 damage weapon?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna take double macro scalpels because then you get the +1 attack. So it's only 4 attacks more and you get +1 AP and damage. So I think that I'm probably not taking chain flails in my Talos. Probably. Which is unfortunate, because, that's pretty cool. But, alas.
Thanks so much for the super chat, Matt.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you so much.
I'm really excited to see what Matt is going to choose for his stream match.
Ooh, I am also very excited to find that out.
I figure it's going to involve Drukhari with all these questions. Let's see, strategy... Between the 3 Eldari factions, what would you personally go for and why?
Dark Eldar.
Because they are by far the strongest. And I'm a power gamer.
Yeah, Craft Worlds, as Sean Nain showed, they do have some good units, but the overall package that you get, there isn't enough good units.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's not enough good synergies in Craft Worlds.
Harlequins
are very strong.
Harlequins are very strong.
Harlequins versus Drukhari is pretty interesting too.
Yeah, I think I give the edge to Drukhari because they've just got cheaper stuff.
Yeah. But
they've got some really cool things.
But I think that's actually a very interesting matchup. Soaring Spike versus Drukhari.
Yeah.
Clifton Russell says, thanks for the shout out, Lennon, from earlier. About his Oryx and being a true GSC player.
He is a true GSC player, and I respect that. And it's hard to show that right now. Thank you for getting Hand Flamers increased to 3 points per model, Clifton.
Couldn't have done it without you.
Couldn't have done it without you.
Looking for a second army that is competitive, but also very different from my Death Guard Chaos in general. Which one would you recommend? Have limited playing time once a week.
Different from what?
Different from Death Guard and Chaos.
I mean, now would be a good time to check and see if there's literally any Drukhari in stock, because there probably isn't. However, armies that are really different to Chaos, Harlequins, anything Eldar is going to be very different to Death Guard, but I also would have to shout out Sisters. Just because, there's a lot of armies that are different to Death Guard. Like, I could say Genestealer Cult. Genestealer Cult are super different to Death Guard. And they have a beautiful plastic line, and you know what? Genestealer Cult are probably in stock. But,
Tau are very different from
I always want to call out Sisters, because I think everyone should own an Imperium army. If I'm just being objective here. Everyone should own an Imperium army. Like, Imperium's always getting love. Sisters are kind of being hyped up by GW a lot recently, so I expect that they're going to be getting a lot of love in the future. Like they were in the trailer video. I expect us to see a lot of Sisters updates from now on. The days of, plastic sister jokes are long over.
Yeah, and a lot of what John said earlier is almost every unit in Sisters is good.
Yeah, Sisters are an incredibly well-designed codex. They have new models on the way.
And they have multiple playstyles within that book.
Exactly, yeah. They're very fun, and you're not going to get bored of Sisters. Sisters do a lot of cool things.
Need to stay on top so I can recommend a stream match you would probably play anyway.
Excellent.
You could always go for the weird ones. We've gotten
some weird ones, and we will play them.
We play them. Starship Troopers, Lyle, if you're in the chat, we played that.
Absolutely.
That was a fun matchup.
That was a fun matchup. Poor Tyranids.
You missed my question. Let me go back and see.
How could you, Richard?
Sometimes these questions don't appear, so if I missed it, feel free to repost it.
Yep.
But I only see your question about which army you should play. But feel free to please repost it, and I'll go back to that one. Everyone should own an Imperium army, yeah, but what if I have some self-respect? Oh, those are fighting words.
Fighting words. Death Guard players. Incredible.
No, that's not the Death Guard.
Oh, not the Death Guard?
That's a different player.
Well, they're going to say, what do I have self-respect?
That is Dude Makes Videos.
Dude makes videos.
He definitely doesn't make Imperium videos.
Ooh. It's alright. Maybe Dude Makes Videos is a Tyranid and Genestealer Cult player and a true diehard one. And you know what?
I would respect that.
What if he was
If you say top?
died in the Wool Top player?
No! No!
Dude makes videos. Let us know what army you play. Nice, thanks. Don't think mastering Sisters would be a little bit difficult with little playtime. Keep hearing they are hard army to master. Hard army to master, but they have just bringing Sisters, you're at a good place already.
Yeah.
Like, all their units are just very strong overall. Mm-hmm. Mastering them, yes, it's definitely difficult, but most of the armies are difficult to master.
I think Sisters, practicing with them is good, but also just reading the book a lot is very helpful. Yeah. I wouldn't just pick up Sisters for a weekend and then leave them. But I think if you want it as a main army, otherwise if you're looking for something easier, that you don't have to invest a lot of time in, Custodes, but they're kind of similar to Death Guard in play style.
Similar to Death Guard.
Yeah.
And obviously easier than that is Dark Angels, but they play very similar.
Is that a 5-pound super chat from Matt?
That is a 5-pound super chat from Matt. Thank you so much, Matt. The other legendary Matt.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
The double Matt. How does John think his Tyranids will go into the new Dark Eldar?
I think this is really going to depend on what the new Dark Eldar... Drukhari.
What's scary for you?
All of it. All of it's scary.
All of it's scary?
Yeah, Witch Cult hit a pound of bricks. Witch Cult are super scary. Getting trapped in combat sucks. I'm just worried about them being so fast that they swamp me. And I like being fast enough to force people to play a standoff game and be like, if you come near me, I'm going to punish you. And I'm always scared of people being like, well, we're going to try it. And then it's like, well, I have one turn to either table you or not. And that's what I'm always scared of. And Dark Eldar are absolutely MSUN fast enough that that's a real thing they can do.
Is this a time for double Hive Guard?
I'm not going to pretend I haven't thought about it. We do own 12.
We do own 12.
We do own 12. I have thought about it. I am hoping it does not get to that point because I find that a little boring. A little bit of indirect, 300-ish points of indirect is great. 600 points of indirect is now this is what the army does, and that's boring.
It'd be basically dropping the Exocrine and then cutting points elsewhere.
Yeah, and 20 Gaunts.
Devour Gaunts.
Devour Gaunts are so necessary. So necessary to Dark Eldar. It's oh, Hellions, you say. I'm not winning that without Deck Gaunts.
Maybe you'd have to drop the Hive Tyrant down to a Broodlord.
God, don't say those words. I like the Hive Tyrant. He's really cool.
He is cool. Thanks so much for that super chat. But
Mhm.
we definitely, and if you were one of the top 2 super chatters, you could choose that matchup and make it
Yeah, I
happen.
really want to get that one on stream, especially when we've got the Drukhari army developed. That's going to be a really challenging one for both sides, I think. Be a really good litmus test for, like, how good are you as a fast melee army? Here, play Tyranids.
Dude makes videos, is in fact a Gene Slayer cult player.
Hey!
He is building and painting up accolades as we
You
speak.
know what? Then you are a servant of the Imperium.
It just happens to have...
I am loyal to the Emperor who has at least 2 arms. Minimum of 2.
Have you thought about adding dreads or warsuits to scars? Just to fly?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. I often contemplate the double Redemptor because the Redemptor is so solid. Just to add a lot more sticking power and long-range firepower to the center block. I actually think I like that a little bit more than attack bikes in the context of Dark Eldar are coming. But I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Possibly because Redemptors have been sold out for the past, I'm pretty sure that, like, the pyramids were being built the last time Redemptor Dreadnoughts were in stock. It feels like they have been gone forever. It's like the only way to get it is to buy, like, a $150 Dark Angel Start Collecting box, which I already have every other model in that in triplicate. So I keep waiting.
Buy it and then trade it back to Warfire, everything else.
Honestly, I'm about to. Like, I think we actually ordered a Dark Angel Combat Patrol just to make this happen, because I got sick of waiting.
These flayed ones are a nightmare to build and paint. Please tell me I don't have to get 40 to battle ready. I don't think you need 40. I think a 20-man unit is the most you would run.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, for whatever reason, they are in 1,000 different pieces.
Ouch.
I have not started building mine yet because of that.
One day the flayed ones will come home.
One day.
One day.
If Dark Angels remain stationary, do they overwatch on 5s?
They do not, unfortunately. Overwatch ignores traditional modifiers. It has to specifically call out Overwatch as being relevant. That would be nice, though. I would not. Although, frankly, again, do Dark Angels need that? Probably not.
What are your thoughts on Seer Council's viability?
I don't think it's quite there, personally. It's just too many points, in my opinion. I don't think Eldar playstyle naturally wants to be built around a single unit. So I think they're just better off playing for the be in a lot of places PMSU rather than this one unit's hard to kill. I also feel like the game is starting to lean away from 3-pin vulns, and I don't think you want them.
How do AdMech feel in Drukhari? We're going to find out tomorrow on Tuesday.
That is. I think AdMech actually have a very playable matchup into Dark Eldar.
They can pick up a lot of stuff in a turn, and they have
Yep.
powerful indirect, volume of fire everywhere.
Yeah, those are like immediate check boxes of what do you need to beat Drukhari. All those things that are so worthless into Death Guard suddenly are worthwhile again. It's like, ooh. Let's try to combine a worthwhile and useful, and that was not a real word.
It does matter that I, in fact, have 3 Cognis Heavy Stubbers on this platform.
Suddenly the Cognis Heavy Stubbers matter. It's like, ooh, just an extra 9 shots every time you were firing a real gun. It's like, interesting. Not good. Not good. But yeah, we're actually going to have that on this very same channel in just under 24 hours. It is tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The Forces of Forge World Metallica into our new Drukhari army.
I think it should be a good matchup.
I think it's going to be very interesting.
I think it'll be very back and forth.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we have all of the Drukhari stuff that we want yet. We're working on getting it all built and painted, and not everything's ready. So it'll definitely take a lot of the more traditional Dark Eldar units, like Talus and Grotesques, over the 20 Hellions that are 100% not built and painted. So it'll. I don't think it'll be a final indication, but I do really think that both these armies are very viable. So I'm excited to see them on the table.
What's your thoughts on Sawtech Patrol with Xandrix? Seems really spicy right now with some absurdly strong strats. The thing is, there's so many good strats that vecting any single one isn't as powerful, and also the Sawtech Detachment really just doesn't do a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if anybody else had that ability, I would like it a lot more. But I tried it; it's fine. But there's so many. Almost every single good army has multiple strats that are powerful enough to vect.
Yeah.
I get one. Yeah.
It's not just one stratagem that I'm relying on.
They're not relying on any single stratagem. There are some armies that do, but at that point you should have other plans to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
if they're so monodimensional. I don't know. I think the opportunity cost of having to go out of your way to get Sawtech isn't actually worth it.
Yeah, because being pure Sawtech to keep your bonuses is a little frustrating. And
but
then,
even the allied detachment, I
then you lose your dynastic. Not the codes. The
no, you
the
lose
protocols. You lose protocols. Yeah, the protocols are good. They're not amazing or like fully necessary, but it certainly doesn't suck to have them.
Yeah, very useful. I just wish Sawtech itself did more.
Of course.
Redemptor Dreadnoughts are in stock in the U.S. store. The
No.
galleons from England have arrived.
No way. Are they actually? Oh, all right.
There's no way chat would ever lie to us.
We're talking to Warpfire tonight.
Okay.
All right, chat. I'm trusting you. We're gonna find out about this.
We're gonna order them.
Absolutely.
How many?
7.
All of them.
7.
How many Redemptors can you get?
Well, Nick has 2, so we get 1 more for Nick. Then we get 3 to paint Deathwatch, 3 to paint my game, 7 Redemptors.
3 more to paint Blood Angels.
Oh, good call. 10. Should have 10. Or we could get 36 and just have a different Marine army for every single chapter.
I mean, that
Right,
makes
all 9
sense.
Legions, Black Templars, Deathwatch, Grey Knights, and then a different one to just be a
I
successor.
wish Grey Knights could get Redemptors. That'd be awesome.
That would
Some
be fun.
primary stuff.
I wish.
No dice for the Grey Knights.
Nope. Soon, maybe. I hope.
The rest of the parts of the Dark Angel box sell for close enough to retail that you're getting your Redemptor for a little under retail, though. Yeah, like it's definitely not bad value.
No, it
It's
really
just-
isn't.
It's just buying all the other stuff and having to trade it back.
Yeah, I've been lazy.
Just
I've
extra
been playing
work.
Tyranids. I'll be honest here.
Could John elaborate on why 3-up invulns are not as valuable as before?
Because Null Zone and Death Hex feel like they're getting more prominent recently, as well as things like the Reliquary of the Repentant that just take it down. And also, a lot of armies that had 3-up invulns are slowly having them replaced with not 3-up invulns, like 4-up invulns. And I just think that they're going to become less and less popular, because as codexes get updated, there's not going to be many of them. Like, 3-up invulns have been exceedingly rare in all of the new books. Like, you've got the Archon Shadowfield, who's a bit of a special situation, because it can't be rerolled ever. Other than that, like, I don't think Necrons had any 3-up invulns, period.
On the surface, no.
Space Marine 3-up invulns are exceedingly rare. They exist, but they are very rare and limited, and you don't get them on, like, whole units, usually. So, like, I'm just... It's not that they're bad. If you have access to it, it's still very good. But also, I think of the Reliquary of the Repentant and, like, Magnus and a Super Chicken just getting evaporated. And I'm like, this is not, like, just the I'm strong that it used to be. Like, you need something besides the invul. Yeah. Driving the Reliquary next to Magnus and just being like, pew! You're gone. That was tragic. I felt a little bad doing that. Not very bad, he's still a foul heretic who did everything wrong.
But then you played as Magnus, and that was legendary.
That was legendary, yeah, Magnus into yellow white scars, what else could you expect?
And back to full tier.
Oh man, top tier again. How does this keep happening? We'll just get 2d3 more wins back. Dang it.
Is a librarian for 5-up invuln essential for the Redemptor build?
I think it's useful. I think that it essential depends on what chapter you're running as. Generally, though, a librarian does work pretty well with Redemptors, but I also want to look at what other HQs you have, because I think a Primaris Tech Marine, or any Tech Marine, is actually mandatory with Redemptors. I think the Tech Marine is amazing. He just gives +1 to hit, which is basically a chaplain litany that you don't have to roll, and he heals. And he's cheap. And a Primaris Tech Marine is actually 7 attacks, which I did not think was going to happen. And I opened up the data sheet, I'm like, let me just check the stats on the gun, and then I just kind of kept reading the rest of it, and I'm like, oh, he has 7 attacks. Because he has all his little mechanites and server arms.
It's like Call, like out of nowhere. Yeah,
just like out of nowhere, he just like scoops a 5-man squad. I'm like, did not think this was going to happen, but here we are.
Please stop talking up Clifton. Every time someone does, it takes me weeks to get him back to normal.
Clifton was never normal, don't lie. I see your memes.
You guys have an awesome collection shelf we see on stream. Always wondered who owns what.
Oh boy. So a lot of it is mixed. A couple of the armies are like mixed owned. Where like the Tyranids, I think... What is it? The Tyranids started as yours and Nick's. And then it got kind of combined and
I
we started
basically
painting...
gave it to Nick.
Yeah.
That's just kind of Art of War stuff. And then I started buying models to have a competitive Tyranid army, but instead of painting them in my scheme, I kind of kept my Tyranid army. I didn't get rid of it, but I kept it as like the alternate when you need like an allied high fleets. When I do Kraken and Kronos, my stuff is the Kronos. But then all the new stuff I bought, I painted in a house scheme. But like the Demacarons are mine, but like that doesn't really matter to us. Usually you can kind of tell by who's playing it because we generally play the armies we own, even though of course there's exceptions. Most of the Chaos is Mark's. The Marines are Nick's. The rest of the Imperium is either mine or yours.
Yep.
Like the big Space Marine army is mine. The Guard are mine.
Yep, I have Blood Angels, Admech, Custodes.
Yep.
Grey Knights.
Yeah.
And then obviously I have Tau and Necrons.
Don't forget the Imperial Knights. The Gene Slurkult's mine.
Yep.
I think that's it for my stuff.
So it's kind of evenly mixed.
Yeah, we all play a decent amount of armies.
Mostly have like 5 or 6 armies, and those are the typical ones we play on stream.
Yeah, and whenever it overlaps, like usually one of us, whoever happens to have more stuff painted, kind of takes charge. Or better painted. Like my Tyranids are old. I painted them all over 10 years ago, like when I was a wee lad in middle school. So I have no problem just painting new models in the new scheme because my old stuff isn't great.
For sisters, we all have sister stuff.
Mine
is all new in box, and then John and Nick have competing sisters armies.
Yeah, Nick has a little bit more because he's put some more time into it.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that though.
Well, that time had to go somewhere. It wasn't in the Harlequins.
It wasn't the Harlequins. Yep.
Miss Twitch and the BBTV emotes.
Well, we do still have the emotes in here.
We have our emotes at least.
So. I do like our emotes. You gotta get the heroic
cool.
interventions.
We'll just put them out there. The John Lennon heroics.
The heroics, you say? Oh man, 6-inch heroic OBSEC Knights. I mean, how could I say no to that? Like, free blades are so cool. Is it bad that I just finished painting up a knight army and I'm like, I'm gonna magnetize this one, never have to paint a knight again, and then I'm like, ooh, what if I paint an entire new knight army, but every model's a different color? It's like, dang it. I was so close to being done.
I'm just waiting for the Valiant to become good.
Oh my god.
I gave John a Valiant and he traded it.
I did, and you sold me a Valiant.
I sold it.
And then I sold it. I made a profit on that.
The Valiant. It's the harpoon, John. Come on.
Oh my god. My dream is to kill an airplane with a harpoon at some point in my life. I'm actually waiting for flyers to be good, and once they are, I'm going to run the Valiant. And so help me God, we are going to harpoon an Eldar flyer. It's like this Valiant's going to rub and be like, not today.
Do you think it's viable to soup Scars and Dark Angels? Losing the Super Doctrines doesn't seem like a big punishment for Dark Angels, and the Dark Angel shooting seems like it would make up for the loss of extra White Scar damage.
I actually don't think I would take White Scars at that point. If I just want Advanced and Charge Marines, I would do Raven Guard Successors, or I would do Black Templars, frankly. I agree, Dark Angels don't need their Super Doctrine at all. It's fine, it's good. You will definitely use it sometimes, but you can easily build a list that does not require it. But I don't think White Scars are the best ally if you're doing that. If you just want, that kind of melee Marine, you might as well do Raven Guard, or I really think actually Black Templars are the best choice there. I like Black Templars a lot, though. I'm hyped for Black Templars.
John, Gatling or Plasma for your Redemptors?
I was a huge fan of Plasma, and I still am. I need to go do the math on what exactly it does into Drukhari, but with Raiders and stuff going to T6, I think that I still want the Plasma. So Plasma is going to be my gut answer here.
Do you feel that the Reaver Lieutenant is almost mandatory in Marine lists now?
I feel like he's mandatory in certain chapters. Like White Scar is mandatory, Raven Guard mandatory. Deathwatch, not mandatory because you have 5 million different ways to reroll ones to wound. Ultramarine, same thing. You have Guilliman, and therefore nothing else matters. But most armies, if you take a lieutenant, it should be the Reaver Lieutenant, and I think most Marine chapters want it. So yeah, I think he's still very good. I think every Marine player should own a Reaver Lieutenant. Like you don't have to play it every time, but you're gonna use it.
What do you think of the Centurions in the new Drukhari world?
Auto dying to Dark Lances doesn't make me want them. Flamers and Hurricane Bolters don't suck. But I don't think that Centurions bring enough to really help out here. Because you can get 2-up armor with Marines relatively easily.
But you're not primary, so you can't transhuman, you don't get rerolls, you don't get a lot more buffs are becoming core-centric. So for me, I don't think that that's enough to make me want them. These are Space Marine Centurions, right? I can't think of any others, but just not seeing it. I also don't like forward models that much, again, in the context of Dark Lances are minimum 4 damage, and that hurts.
How do you think Death Guard will fare into the new Drukhari?
Oh, I think that that's actually super bad for them. I think Death Guard are really going to need to change. Not to say that there isn't a universe where they can beat it, but on paper, that feels like a very hard matchup. The mortal wound output and speed that Dark Eldar put out, as well as their firepower, feels very hard. Very hard for Death Guard to counter. Like, Dark Lances are actually good at killing Blight Lords, which is obviously not what you want. You don't want to have to Cloud of Flies every turn.
No. They don't have the CP to do it.
Yeah. Their don't count as charging doesn't really matter.
Especially Cloud of Flies +1 CP on it.
Yeah, like it's going to cost 5 CP the next time? Like, no.
No.
If it's essential to the game plan, they'll Vect it, it'll just suck even more.
Yeah.
Although realistically, I think that you would Vect VM extend the range and throw Blight Spawn. Just 2 CP every time you want that.
Yep.
But when the Witch Cult of Strife, which I think is by far the most powerful, their thing is that they auto-fight first. So, like, not counting as charging doesn't change anything. So I really don't think that a lot of that stuff is helpful. Now, the no rerolls is really good in the Witch Cult, because they've got rerolls for days, and that's what gives them a lot of their power. So there's definitely some play, but I think Death Guard are going to have to adapt. I'm not a natural Death Guard player, so we'll have to ask Nick what he thinks Death Guard are going to have to do, but some change feels necessary. Best direction, not sure yet.
Yeah.
Jury's still out. Alright, got the Contemptor all done. Ta-da!
What are you thinking for your Knights list on Thursday?
So I'm thinking it's probably going to involve House Raven. I really just want to show off the new House Raven rules.
Yeah.
So I'll probably... I think Crass is actually still better, by the way.
Yeah.
But I want to show off House Raven, and I'll do some AdMech allies, because this is the most interaction you can get between Knights and AdMech. Because, you know, those are very traditionally aligned factions. And then the fact that you can just, like, give them each other's keywords, or, like, heal, you know, House Raven models, like, that's pretty cool. I want to see that in action.
Yeah.
It also does give AdMech a little bit of counterpunch and short-range clearance without having to invest in those units. So I think that you don't even need to invest in Fulgurites if you've just got a couple Knights in there. I don't know how many... I haven't really decided the ratio of Knights to AdMech that I'm going to do. Probably go heavier on the Knights than the AdMech, just to kind of show off a different build than the Metallica Forge World stuff.
Yeah, I'll be playing Metallica Forge World on Tuesday.
Yeah, when you want to make those very different games. But we'll also be playing into different Dark Eldar. You know, you'll be playing into my Dark Eldar, and Nick will be playing the Dark Eldar into my Knights.
Yep.
So that'll be a very interesting one.
How you looking over there on your stuff?
I'm actually at a pretty decent stopping point, so I'm might do a little bit of touch up on these infiltrators. There's always more work to be done. But the Contemptor's 100% done. Knocked them out in 2 paint streams, which I'm happy with.
Is this more infiltrators or just finishing the ones that you
These are the ones that we've been using that are not very well painted.
could use some love?
They could use some love, and we always circle around. Or at least I try to. I definitely sometimes leave things not perfect, just to get them like 3 colors per stream, but now I'm coming back and going over the details to really make them pop out a little more. Plus, the infiltrators are getting better and better, I think. I really like infiltrators right now.
Yeah.
They're mandatory in almost every Marine list I write, so I figure it's time, if they're going to be in every list, I think it's time to give them the 11 they deserve.
Do you think the new Sisters Lieutenant will be necessary in some Sisters lists?
Yeah, she feels really good, actually. I think I really want to see her war gear choices, but I think even in a Bloody Rose detachment, I'm probably taking her. I'm hoping she gets cool war gear.
I feel like any shooting list is gonna. She'll be in range.
Yeah, if you've got Retributors, you might as well re-roll more shots.
Yeah.
And like an extra character with Sisters, like you already want to have a few characters floating around to get all the traits and stuff on. And the Palatine
because it looks like her only close combat option is a power sword. As far as like the spruce show, I haven't seen the data sheet yet, unfortunately. So at that point, like, all right, she's not going to really be getting any relics. So now she's a great relic caddy. Now the Canoness is free. Because occasionally I have to, if I don't have multiple Canoness, I have 2 Canoness. One is there to just be a beat stick, and one is there to hold other relics and stuff because someone has to do it. Like a Palatine who's the Warlord who's like, I'm going to take Miracle Dice Generation, the Miracle Dice Relic, and she just kind of sits in the midfield. Like, that's pretty good. And she's probably cheaper than a Canoness. You know, Lieutenants are cheaper than Captains. I hope a Palatine is cheaper than a Canoness. I don't know this, but I will cross my fingers and pray to the Emperor, who has at least 2 arms.
Who's going to be the Art of War main Drukhari player in the stream house?
Nick is really excited about Drukhari, and I'm really liking them as well. But I'm probably going to let Nick get most of the play in there. I may take them to some tournaments though. They look really, really fun and powerful, so I may try that out. But I imagine Nick's going to do a lot of the games on stream.
Yeah.
Mostly just because I've got a couple other armies that I'm excited about as well. So I think we'll let Nick have this one.
It's also always fun coming up with the builds to beat the new meta stuff.
Absolutely. Now what I really want to do, I think, is while we get into these new Sisters models, I think I'm going to just kind of shove the Dark Eldar to Nick, and I'll take over the Sisters, hopefully. It's about time, I think.
What's the Contemptor for?
I really like the model, and he's been kind of built and on my shelf for a couple months. And I try to get to those things eventually. I try not to let primed models sit on my shelf for over a year. Although Adrax Agatone has been there for about 11 months now, so he's coming up. Yeah, so that's the main thing. I really like the idea of the Volkite Contemptor in some of the Loyal Space Marine chapters. I think Iron Hands, Deathwatch, even Ultramarines really like having that guy. So he's fully magnetized, so I just finished painting him up. And of course the arms are removable, and my Volkites are going to come later, hopefully. We made a Forge World order recently where we tried to skip up a bunch of those. So I am hoping that we will have those arrive sometime. I have a tracking number from Forge World, and I think it's coming in Wednesday. So at that point, maybe next week's paint stream, you'll see 2 magnetized Volkites getting painted up real quick. I just want to have a nice Forge World Dread just to pump up the DACA. Especially, I was kind of making an assumption that Dark Eldar were going to require me to not spam Ultimaltus. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a good platform if Dark Eldar are real. Maybe I'm going to want this guy. And you know what? Having read it, maybe, yeah.
Is it me, or does it feel like the Drukhari are just going to trash Marines?
It does feel like that, yep. It does. And I don't think that it's going to end up that way because Marines have so many options. But the current Marine archetype looks at Dark Eldar and wants absolutely nothing to do with it. So, yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Revolting Detachments not count as charging also removes all fight first abilities.
Oh, really? Dang.
It is.
I thought it just counted as not charging.
No, it also removes fight first.
Woohoo. Woohoo. Yeah, back to the extension on that. Yep. No, thank you. Goodness gracious. Which guy does that? Yeah, the Hellions are going to fly over him. Screw that guy. Oof, that's nasty. Dang. You mentioned Sisters had multiple playstyles. Could you list them, and which one of them do you prefer? Also, do we ever get to see non-Nick painted Sister models? Ooh, boy. Yes, I actually do have my own Sisters collection, which I kind of work on between projects, because we already have a Sisters army. So it hasn't been a top priority, but I do have my own Sisters collection that I'm very, very fond of just painting slowly because there's always something else to do. As far as Sisters playstyles go, I think that my personal one that I like the most, and I think Nick shares my opinion here, is the Bloody Rose Battalion, where you bring in a couple Bloody Rose heavy support choices that triumph some really good melee between Repentia Zephyrim. I personally lean more Zephyrim. Nick doesn't actually take that many of them. And then just generic girls and rhinos, all very strong. Next up is the kind of the Mortifier list, which has faded out a little bit with Death Guard and Dark Angels emerging. One of our loyal supporters, TK Penny, a good friend of mine, ran that to some pretty good success at some tournaments earlier this year, or end of last year as well. That's like, 9 to 12 mortifiers, a couple exorcists. You can get a lot of firepower in a Sisters army with that. Other than that, like the Order Martyr laid you more shooting focused list, which is going to be a lot more vehicle heavy with Junith. You have like Immolators, Retributors, Immolators, as I said that twice, Exorcists is another popular one. And then the Valorous Heart style, which is very popular in Australia, where you focus a lot on the defensive aspects of Sisters, and then you usually have like a small ally to deliver a little more punch. I like the Bloody Rose best. I just like, always be punching, always be charging things. You gotta follow your ABCs. Always be charging.
Gotta have your bonding knife, John.
Get out of here.
Pass morale.
No, only on the 6.
Well, if you bring the Farsight Enclave Warlord trait, it's 4-ups.
Pass morale on a 1, 4, 5, or 6.
Yep.
Okay.
How did Bladeguard fare against Drukhari? Well, I watched Hellions pick up a lot of Bladeguard last night.
2-up saves are always good, but they're good until they're not.
That was brutal.
That was bad. Yeah, and man, that was not average either. Like, it should have been all 10.
Yep.
It's like I did the math on it, I was like, oh yeah, this kills all of them. Then a couple lived, but it still was many dead Bladeguard.
As someone who has not read the Drukhari Codex, how are they pumping out so many mortals?
How aren't they pumping out mortals? So they have their bomber got better, I think, where it can do D6 mortals now. They have a flyby stratagem where any witch cult unit with fly that moves over you, this could be like Reavers or Hellions, which are both very fast units. If they advance, they can roll a dice and do a mortal wound for every model in the Dark Eldar unit. It's on a 5+, but then if you target infantry, it's a 4+. So that means that like 20 Hellions fly over a unit, roll 20 dice, every 4+ is a mortal wound. So that could be just 10 mortal wounds, and just that's an entire squad that just died for 2 CP. Or like Reaver Jetbikes, which are super fast. I think they move 18 base. That could very easily go from behind a wall to over a character and then on the other side. And then they can still charge after this, and suddenly you're dealing a massive amount of mortal wounds.
It's not good.
That's not good. They're a 12-man squad, so that could, again, pick an infantry character, roll 12 dice, every 4+ is a mortal wound. That's an average of 6 mortal wounds to a random infantry character, and suddenly like your Foul Blight's Punch is dead. Your Space Marine Captain, your Reaver Lieutenant, a Space Marine Apothecary is just average dead. Right there. It's like, ooh, didn't see that coming and didn't want it.
You know who's not dead? The Talon Master.
Talon Master is not dead to that. More Talon Masters.
What do you think about Salamanders with Flamer Aggressors into Drukhari? They can do the Overwatch on nearby units getting charged, which seems sweet.
Yeah, that's actually really useful. Having good Overwatch is very important. However, Witch Cult of Strife does have a 1 CP. This unit cannot be Overwatched.
What's the exact wording? That unit cannot suffer from the targeted unit?
They cannot be targeted by Overwatch.
Any Overwatch?
No one's Overwatching them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not just the unit that they charge.
Yeah, so then it would get around that strat.
Yeah, and Tau, Sporting Fire, all that stuff.
You won't get around the grab drone, John. You know about the grab drone.
I do know about the grab drone.
Was just wondering if y'all would ever do something like going over some list concepts that we may have. That is exactly what I think in general, but that is exactly what you can do that in the list design service.
Mm-hmm.
Phone call consultation.
Yep.
So you can submit a list and then have the art of work coach work with you
Absolutely.
on improving it and or just talking through the concept, how to get the most out of it.
Mm-hmm.
We also do clinics, and you can ask those types of questions in the clinics if you want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do on the private services.
Yeah, again, in the war room.
Yep, in the war room. How do you do Drukhari or Dark Eldar line up into mortal wounds themselves, like cast soup lists?
It's going to be interesting. I think that having transports
it helps so much.
So much. Really does.
Like all the Catan powers,
yeah.
Besides Thunderbolts, you don't really want any of them into vehicles.
Into vehicles, yeah. I think that they've got enough cheap screens that they'll be okay.
You could always roll the 6 against a Venom on Time's Arrow and just kill
it. You have to equal the rule?
Yeah, equal or beat their wounds characteristic.
Yeah, you could on it.
I rolled it on the Star Weaver.
That's so bad.
Oh yeah, you weren't here for that game, right?
I think I was out of town.
It was the final turn. I rolled the 6 on Time's Arrow and killed the transport. Straight out.
It's blatantly disrespectful.
It was straight up disrespect.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man, that's good stuff. Does Dark Angels almost always Overwatch on 5s? They
don't think so. The +1 to hit doesn't stack with Overwatch
No,
because
okay.
Overwatch ignores modifiers.
Yep. Gobbler says War Room is legit, and we got so much great content this week. We got
Oh my goodness.
we got an
We have a
Imperium
Meta Monday
clinic that John and I
today.
are doing. Meta Monday today with
Mm-hmm.
Scary and Brad Chester.
Yeah.
Obviously talking a lot about Drukhari and how they're going to shape
Absolutely.
the
It's
meta.
the Imperium Clinic tomorrow, right?
Imperial Clinic is
Right
tomorrow
after
after our
stream
stream game.
Mhm.
So that's John and I. So we'll be talking about AdMech and Knights, especially.
Yeah,
But also
especially.
just Imperium soup lists.
Huh.
And then we've got a Chaos Clinic that'll be talking about the new Death Guard rules, but also just Chaos in general, how they're going to adapt to Drukhari. And then
also
also
have-
the Drukhari Clinic on Friday.
And let's not forget, we have our coaching match every week.
We do have our coaching game, which is going to be Sisters, Nick's GT winning Sisters
Yep.
list into John playing the Drukhari.
Absolutely.
No mercy, no
Absolutely. You know, one
Nick's
of the
not
top
gonna know
lists
what's
in the meta
happening.
right now. Oh no. Nick's playing Drukhari on Thursday and he's still
Is
gonna
he?
get. Yeah, we're gonna be spinning right around him with all these fast units. It's gonna be really fun. I'm excited for it.
Yep, and then tomorrow's game is going to be AdMech. I'm bringing the new Metallica rules against
Mm-hmm.
John playing Drukhari for the first time. I think he's going to go start off with a more Coven-centric build.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we're gonna end up with. Just to try out everything. I actually really love witch cults. Unfortunately, I am not prepared to put a fully painted witch cult army on the table tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we're probably gonna start with covens, and we're gonna dial up the witch cult over the next couple weeks and see what we can do. 'Cause there's so much good stuff for Dark Elven. There's so much stuff coming this week. It's a really good week.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out with us. Hopefully, we are going to see you in tomorrow's game, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the AdMech Metallica versus the Drukhari.
Eldar.
Hope to see you then.
Denizens of the webway.
The Webway.